kind of the opinions of so many others. So there's a lot of, I'm going to just go ahead and say it now because this is yikesradio.com as well as acceleratedраdio.net. Your girl is on two networks at the same freaking time simultaneously. Boom, boom, shakalaka. Hey, and we also would say a shout out to Mr. Sean Time Thompson from Southside Compton Crips. Wanted to give you a shout out and a happy birthday tonight. But guess what I got in the studio, guys? We're getting revving up. What up, Roddy Rod? We're revving up. The Mr. Chico Brown, everybody, who's in the house tonight. Woo! Give me something, Dante. Give it to me. That's my kid. We get ready to go live in a little bit. It's time. Guys, it's really time for us to go like for real, for real. So Dante, you're going to take this over for me. I'm going to put my headphones on. Sorry, guys. Yikes Radio. You tell me, Dante. Good evening and welcome to the Poetry of Justice Show with Jackie Ray Phillips here on yikesradio.com. Now you know, here on yikesradio.com, that is where social consciousness meets the arts. And what we do is we select topics that spark the interest and awareness of social diversity, ranging from arts, entertainment, and social justice at large, leaving our listeners thinking and saying, Frida Ross, yes! Radio.com. Now guys, you know, in addition to yikesradio.com, your girl is now also on acceleratedраdio.net. So we have a simultaneous thing going on here. So either way, you cannot miss us. You can catch us anywhere. We are available in over 111 countries. So that's nothing to snooze at, I don't think. So anyway, guys, but you may have been watching. Oh, Dante, I'm sorry. I'm going to turn this up a little bit because I still don't really hear anything. Okay, Dante. Can we do our little routine with a little bit of Kevin Nash on that? Nash Radio, everybody. So, we get done. What I wanted to let everybody know is I give props and respect to the Mr. Kevin Nash. And Mr. Kevin Nash is the owner of this amazing establishment here at Accelerated Radio and yikesradio.com. And there he is. Those are the sultry sounds of my mentor. So I just always like to go ahead and give a little love and respect to the Mr. Kevin Nash. But without further ado, everybody, we are going to go ahead and move forward, Ms. Frida Ross, with the introduction of my amazing guest, the Mr. Chico Brown. All right. Hey, Chico. How you doing tonight?
What's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing good, Chico. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Poetry of Justice Show.
Cool.
This is a really exciting show for me, Chico. And the reason why it is like a hallmark piece of podcast journalism for us here on the Poetry of Justice Show, Chico. I have always wanted to elevate the game. This track that you hear right now, Chico,
Yeah.
that is my work called The Archer. And one of the lyrics in there says, constant acceleration without hesitation, knowing to make the move, positioned in the groove, striking back is the blow, landing strategic is the bow, the hunter, the hunter, the hunter, the gift, recognizing and accepting the shift. It happened to me. Another spark of my curiosity, blending neatly deep within me. But don't envy me, the poetess reigns on the throne. Thank you, Mr. Chico Brown, for joining me here on the Poetry of Justice Show with Jackie Ray Phillips on Yikes Radio, acceleratedраdio.net. They underestimated me, Chico.
Yeah.
So you my Muhammad Ali tonight, so I thank you.
Thanks for having me.
How are you tonight, Cheeks?
I'm good.
You doing good? So what do you feel about being on the Poetry of Justice Show? I want to know. That's just for me.
That's a pleasure.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, I'm just gonna be myself. And you know how much I talk. You know I rattle on a little bit, but I'm gonna be better tonight. So tonight's show, everybody, as you know, is Chico Brown, the man, the legend, the myth. I was walking in Home Depot in Lakewood looking for a ceiling fan. And after we communicated, and then it popped in my head like, whoa! And I was like, oh my God, what should I say? You know, what should this show be, Frida Ross? And it was like, oh, Chico just came in my head. Chico Brown, the man, the legend, the myth. And I was like, wow. So I told my husband, I was like, what do you think about that? Is that just like too extra? And he was like, well, Jackie, that's what came in your head, and that's what came in your head, and that's what you got to go with. So I said, okay. And then I introduced that idea to you, and you liked it and well enough to approve it. And I thank you, Chico. But we're going to get there, but I want our listeners to just tantalize a little bit before we go directly to that, Chico. And that being stated, I want to start with the word Compton. When you hear that word, Chico, what does it mean to you?
For me, it means a lot of family.
Okay, I'm going to jot that. Maybe I mentioned that. Jot. I don't know if you ever remember that episode of Martin when he was with Varnell Hill, and Varnell was like jotting down everything Martin was saying, so I'm going to be jotting. So, family. Okay. I'm kind of going all over the place with this one because what we're going to do, Chico, these are just my random thoughts, and I think it's going to be very authentic for our listeners and our viewers because we're filming for YouTube, we've got filming for Extra Data, we're live on Facebook right now. We are also going to be on acceleratedradio.net forever, and Yags Radio forever, iTunes. My sister told me that iTunes is fading out. We're also going to be on iHeart, Spreaker, Spotify. So everybody's going to be here able to hear everything about the Mr. Chico Brown. So Chico, Mark Wahlberg, how did you meet him?
Mark was a good friend of mine. I met him through Penny Marshall after I came home from prison.
Okay. When you hear the name Freeway Wick, where does your mind go?
My friend and my co-defendant.
We're gonna get deeper. I'm gonna write that down. That's like, wow. Okay, so where we're gonna go right now, if it's okay with you, is to your film, Compton Rising.
Yeah.
Frida, I know we're supposed to wait until after the break for commentary, but when you saw Compton Rising, what did you think?
I thought how phenomenal. Yeah, it was. I was blown away.
Yeah?
I was blown away. I really
Okay.
was. The content was phenomenal, disturbing. I know I had all kinds of feelings. Yeah.
We're gonna go deeper second hour on that. But so for those, this is gonna possibly fall under Chico Brown, the myth. I'm gonna put Compton Rising under the myth just for now because it obviously falls under every category. Chico Brown, the man, the legend, the myth. But when I think of Compton Rising, I'm thinking of the myth because I don't think people really understand what it is you are really trying to do for our people in terms of Black people, as a nation, as what needs to be changed for our people. When people are looking for quote unquote Black celebrities, if you will, Chico, to rise up a new nation of positive thinkers, game changers, you know, sharpening the iron.
Yes.
I think a lot of people are sleeping on you in that regard, if that makes sense. So once you decide what you're going to do in terms of releasing and distribution of the film Compton Rising, that's why I'm placing that under the myth category, because I think once individuals view that, Frida, it's going to take away that stigma that was once, if you will, around the name Chico Brown. You know what I'm saying, Frida? Lori Ray, you viewed it? Yes. you know what I mean?
I do.
I think it for me, it sparked what we do. We sparked the interest and awareness of social diversity. It definitely sparked an awareness. So Chico, if you will, what in your mind sparked you to do Compton Rising?
Compton Rising, the film part came later. For me, it was to get the guys together, Crips and Violins, to rebuild the community. The same community that I believe we had a hand in destroying. So what I did was put, say, 5, 6 Crips on my construction team.
Mm-hmm.
5, 6 city wouldn't hire them, state wouldn't hire them because they all had prior judgment. So I decided to hire all the dudes that came out of prison and came in the job. So my thing was giving back to my community by hiring my associates, my friends, do some neighborhood area and bring them together. And I didn't know if it was gonna work, but the thought of just having them together and changing their mind and thing for that was getting the older ones and bring that back to their community for us.
Chico, your fans want to hear you, so we just want to get you a little closer to the mic. Dante, you can adjust that volume for us, Chico. Thank you.
So I just wanted to bring them guys together and really rebuild the community, and so that's what I was doing. I was buying homes in Compton and refurbishing and paying to do inscription values, and we all became friends, working together every day.
The word redemption, what does that mean to you, Chico?
For me, when I went to prison, the whole thing was I had to come back and establish myself and to the community. You know, I opened up youth centers all throughout LA, lots, South Central. But it was for me to come back, and I didn't want a kid to get caught up involved with the same thing I did with the prison.
Yes, Frida, I'm sorry.
I just need y'all to talk a little bit louder.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, both gotta talk to the microphone.
Okay, we're gonna go
Here we go.
in deeper into the mics, Chico. I guess we're so involved. Okay, so anyway, we're back. Okay. All right, I want to ask you a question. I'm kind of skipping around here. You say in the film that you played a part in destroying the city of Compton, and I think you talk a little bit more into. But could you let our listeners know why you say that? If you wasn't the only drug dealer in the city of Compton.
No, I definitely wasn't the only drug dealer in Compton, but when you play a part in me and Freddie and Ray, dealing with the CIA and bringing drugs to America, not just
What?
Compton.
What is that like? That's like some Nicky Barnes shit. You know, that's some like, what's the dude or the other dude? The
Frank Lucas.
there you go, Frank Lucas. Look at you.
At the time, you know, we didn't know that we were getting drugs from the government.
Man.
We were just doing what we thought was, you know, making money. For me, that's all it was about.
The word prom. What does a prom mean to you? How did the prom? You remember what I'm saying for the film?
Yeah.
500 SEL.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first problem, I think I talked about that. We went to prom. I think I was in 11th grade. My partner, he had an SM. I didn't have an SM. So I got involved. Yeah.
I never did the cutest part. I was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, so that was a little extra. Just Chico, you talk about Compton being a fad, and you say, where were you guys at when the shit was, happening? Where's you at when it was all going on? Tell us about that.
I mean, I got shot in 1976 when I was 12 years old, so I've been around gangs all my life. So when we talk about that 80s, 85, 86, 87, it was really, if you wear blue and you wear red, it's different. But now, with the new wave of kids, you can't really tell who's a Crip or who's a Blood. Your friends, so for me, it's like gangbang is like one of the stupidest things you ever can do. But you get caught up when you're young, because you think, during my time, we get jumped in the game, we were the game. Like, it wasn't, you have to get jumped in. You from this neighborhood, because that's where you
This is where you live. Chico, remember you talk about, you said we're the same families, and we go to the same schools, and then you say now we want to kill one another based on the side of the street we live on, or based on what school we go to, or where our parents live.
When we was kids, like 9 and 10 and 11, we played baseball together, all up the street. It wasn't a game, talking about, early 70s. So we all walked to the same park, we played to the same team, and so, like this, early 70s, and you get this divide in yourself, I can't do it. If I live over here, I have to go to this school, you can't go to that school, the colors came in, and, everybody started representing it. So now, the change is, anybody can be anybody, you can just say where you're from, but it didn't used to be like that back in the days when we grew up.
Frida, do you remember when that trend happened?
I'm sorry.
The trend of the red and the blues and the colors?
Oh God, yeah,
Yeah?
absolutely. I think that started. Of course, that was something that really kind of took off. Didn't it like 70s, late
Yeah.
60s, early 70s, and I guess we were probably like very early on in elementary
I
school.
kind of remember
do remember.
elementary
I was in
school.
junior high.
You were in junior high when you remember,
Oh,
Laura?
I remember. Yeah.
What about Dick? I remember that Dickinson.
Mhm.
I think
But
we
you were at
talked about
Dickinson
this.
because I was in
Yeah.
Davis.
Yeah, because you were at Davis.
Uh-huh.
I remember, because
Yeah.
I remember asking my daddy, I was like, Daddy, what is that hanging out their pockets? And then he just told me, you need to stay away from them, shawty. You know, you don't need to hang out with them. And I remember we would be riding down the street coming home. Sometimes Daddy would pick us up. And he'd be like, you need to stay away from them, shawty. They gonna end up in the penitentiary. And I was like, Daddy, why you say that to me, Daddy? And it happens.
Sure.
I remember, Chico, I was at Compton High. I was like 12th grade when I saw the change. And that was in 1984. And I was like, where's everybody getting all this money from? You know what I mean? Like the dudes I've been knowing since I was a little kid. And I'm like, dang. I remember that.
Yeah.
CIA. What was that like? Seriously. I want to do it. That scared me.
I mean,
That like a certain bravado go with that?
the court black people was probably fighting because you saw them coming in, you saw them CIA coming in, you saw them coming in our courtroom, but when we was doing it out there in the street, we didn't know
Mm.
that they was until we got arrested.
I mean, like, when you hear the CIA, government level stuff, I want to know, did a certain bravado come with that? Because I think, I'm just thinking it should. I mean, when we think of Nicky Barnes, when we think of Frank Lucas, I'm just saying, is that, it's YikesRadio.com. I just want to put it out there. Scarfaces, what do you think?
It was definitely not.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa.
But,
Constant acceleration, guys.
Yeah.
yeah,
See?
the code is, you have to be part of it to understand it.
And maybe that's the criminal justice major in me. I don't know, but it's so intriguing to me. I think it's awesome, Chico. I know, God bless me. But anyway, so we talked about that, and Chico, when you say in the film you talk about being arrested and going to prison, how did that change your outlook or perspective on life?
This was my second time. I had got arrested 3 years before this. Ended up going to trial. Looking at 25, 30 years. I went to trial and won. So that's when I'm thinking, I'm glad I won. That was my first case, and I was like 7, 80, 86 or something.
See, when you can win, you're like, yay, Teflon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how did the game change for you in that regard? I mean, they just kind of swooped down on us, or what? Because I know, the first time I encountered Chico Brown, I was watching a documentary on the American Gangsters. Oh, do you guys remember that series?
Mhm.
I believe it was BET. And I did see you were being interviewed, and that's when the first time, that light was like, whoa. You see what I'm saying? That kind of thing. And then, of course, after Chico and I spoke, so bizarre, it's like we do like almost like a lot of the same people throughout the city, but just at different times and places. So, what was that like for you, Chico?
For the CIA part, being involved.
Yes.
Like I said, being involved, you hustling, you never thought about the effects that it had on the families.
Mhm.
Who was involved, who had to go to prison. That's not even a thought of it. At that moment in time, you didn't know no better. If I'm gonna say that for me, I don't know nobody else. I didn't know no better.
Right.
Uh,
It was just still the money side of it, and yeah. What about the word redemption? What does the word redemption mean to you?
For me, like I said, when I was in prison, I saw kids coming to their father. I can't believe it with your son. That was like, for me, like, oh, this is not gonna happen. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
So I wanted to be with my 2 sons. It's like that was important for me because I didn't want them to get caught in the street. Because I was raised with both my parents. So.
Yes. You mentioned that in the film, the importance of family, particularly in our city, and how sometimes people assume that, if you're coming from the city of Compton, that we're disenfranchised completely and disjointed from a family perspective. Chico, did you want to share a little bit about your upbringing in terms of,
I think I grew up like in a nice family. Mother and father. Married for 60-something years.
that's so beautiful. I know. See?
Didn't get in no trouble until after I got a hold of the force, prison and stuff like that. Playing most of the family that lived on my street, like, we all had our mother and father.
Yes.
Like in the 70s, or like in the 80s. I think the fact that, of course, the drugs, when drugs came in, families started getting broken up, people losing their homes in Compton, grandmother, son, house, kids on crack. So that had an effect on the whole community, like, as a whole.
Yes.
We talk about the 80s when we destroyed, like, the whole value of family. Like, I just kind of went all over.
Yes, absolutely. You know, it's so sad. It's so sad. So when you look at the city of Compton now, Chico, what do you think?
I'm a mission. I'm a mission still is really for me. When I say coming back to help and revive, like we were all headed in the wrong direction, like from this whole crack thing, trying to make it money and stuff like that. From all things now, I'm starting to confident at 80, complete turnaround and go back to the values we believe in.
Yes. I like in the film Compton Rising when you talk about like downtown Compton and what that used to mean to us, and the bank and the Security Pacific Bank and like Bank of America and all of the amazing stuff, you know, we have in our city. The C's Candy, Daniel's Jewelry, J.C. Penney's. That's like, whoa, downtown Compton to me. And people sometimes are looking like, downtown Compton, what are you talking about, downtown Compton? And you bringing that to the forefront in the film, I think this is masterful, you know, in my opinion. So thank you.
The feeling for like putting these guys together and hooking them with a contract that we have license to train these guys to do the whole mission. Like we started on a building in Compton, a key building our city, building downtown with 13 rules in the Spanish area. That was all part of my crew. Compton Rise is called ex-contractors. Ex-contractors.
Got it.
We all learn the skill of this, you know.
I think you'll put down, there you go, your program. I put 8, okay, got it.
And those guys, you know, all of us who went to prison, you know, when you have to get a job, you have to learn the skill if it's plumbing, if it's painting, if it's drywall, flooring, whatever their skill was, that was picking up from that. So what do you know how to do? I do drywall, right? Put them on the table, he do drywall, he do roofing. So that was my whole thing, get the guys to do it. And then they bring it back to the younger guys, and when they get involved in the training program, we back LA. There's another program that I started with ex-contractors. It's focused right now because all the people who went to prison were paying their job. The whole thing is giving them jobs.
Yes.
Because I figured this, who want, you know, you go to work for 8 hours a day, you construction, you come back, you tired, you ain't shouldn't like,
Right.
you know, drive by or something like that. You want to feed your family, provide for your family.
I think it's awesome. Chico, could you, Frida, I know this is profound for you because we spoke last night. The woman in the film, Chico, that wants to prepare a school. You know, remember she was talking a little bit about, remember with the dead rat in the door, you was like, whoa, Miss Nunn, yes. Could you talk a little bit about that part of the show, of the film, forgive me?
For years I was talking about, you know, I wanted to just help her, like, what can I do? Like, how can I build your business? Like, this can be, where I keep working in Compton. Like, we have computer classes, technology, you know, everything that she wanted. I raised the money to do this. You know, that was the first building I was going to do. Not thinking that the city would buy this project. My whole focus was like to really build her dream center so she can have them kids come off the street.
I know last night that was one of the most, when Frida watched the film, when you gave me the okay, and Frida watched the film, and she calls me up, she was like, oh my gosh, and you were like, if that child, that baby had a place to go, that baby would still be alive.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so that is so, I remember when we were growing up, Chico, you know, we grew up in City of Compton. As you guys know, I'm always Compton. But at the end of the day, Chico, my mom and dad bought their home like in the 50s, like you said. And it was always about education. And my parents, Frida, I don't know if you remember when we had the little after school program. And my sissy over there, Lori G, wherever she is, Lori was one of the counselors, and we had a little program. And after school, we would make like little snacks. Do you remember Square Deal Market? Square Deal Market on Compton Boulevard. And Oleander, off of Comptonville and Oleander, between Oleander and we would go to the school. You remember Square Deals? You remember that, Frida? You do, huh? I used to, and we would go to Square Deal Market. That was a big deal. And while we were getting there, Daddy would
Lemon
get
cookies.
it would just say cookies. My mama, when she would go, she'd get the Oreos.
Yeah.
Daddy, when we go with Daddy,
Say cookies.
this one here just say cookies. It just no name to it. And then we would get those. But y'all remember them little chocolate chip cookies? Remember them with the little red box with the little tiger?
Brown.
Oh my God, those little brown chocolate cookies.
Swirl.
Oh my God, those are the bees. Anywho, Daddy would take us there and we would get those and we would make little sandwiches, Chico. We had a little after school program. Is what now would be called rap, if you will. You know what I'm saying? The rap program that they do.
Yeah.
So I get that about community. And that was the latest post that I did today, Chico, was talking about justice and community is what we do here on the Poetry of Justice show. Saying that, every guest that comes on the show, I generally ask, what does the word justice mean to you?
It can mean a few things. You know, it's just us.
Mm-hmm.
For me, but you know, like, I don't play the word game. Like, I gotta get out there and put the work in. I don't care about the publicity part of it. I've been doing this since I've been home. Like, I opened up 3 youth centers and I try to stay out there. I was trying to stay out in the political part, just doing the work. Every year I was doing like the stuff in Compton. If it's Thanksgiving, if it's Christmas, I'll be behind the scenes. Nobody will know how we put this thing on. With the Master P's and Tiffany Haddish, all of them, like my friends, when I was being in the Compton, and just now sit in the back. And this thing go on, but at the same time, I just want to do the work.
Chico. You talk about Compton's hidden treasures, and we speak about rebuilding our city, and you talk about the felon diversity employment program, that there's a disconnect, and like you're saying, we need to create something for our own. And the black community where it is right now, and it's in my opinion, remember we talk about that on the show, Chico, about a leadership. What we talk about sometimes is where's the next Malcolm X? Where's the quote unquote next, Martin Luther King, some big grandiose individual. And all respect to the late great Nipsey Hussle, people are looking for that. So what I want to know is, or tell everyone is, Chico, you are that. You are all of those things working right now. And sometimes we don't get, what's that for you? And so sometimes, I don't think it comes out there. So Chico, we're talking about $500,000 here, people. $500,000 raised in order to rebuild the city of Compton. A safe haven for, right? Yes. What happened when you tried to push that initiative?
I mean, first of all, we were already doing the work in Compton, doing houses and stuff. And so when I told my good friend Penny Marshall about what I was doing in the City of Compton, and she said, what if you made this bigger? What, like, you should rebuild your whole city. One building at a time. And so Penny Marshall invited me to call Mark. Mark Wahlberg is my friend. So Mark said, well, come over, tell me what you're talking about. So I had a little tape, I had filmed something on my iPhone. And so I showed it to Mark, and Mark like, gee, this is a good idea. What if I, can help you? Do we raise money to rebuild like historic places in Compton, youth centers and build youth centers and make this project bigger? Because what I was doing was just rehabbing houses and not just paying the dues out of my pocket, because I just wanted them to stay out the streets and get a job and work like that.
Yes.
And so Mark came with the idea of rebuilding Compton like in the background. Like it wasn't like he wanted no publicity or Penny Marshall. This is all on me. Right? So he said, well, you said find like the park, like Gonzalez Park, historic park. Say, let's pick them buildings and just redo them. Like, and we'll help you raise money, and that's what they did, help me raise money. So I brought the whole project to the board of Compton and told them what I was doing, and everything was fine. I'm thinking, yeah, this is perfect. Got the guys working. Not only that, I'm hiring them in the background, like security, on the set. So probably 30, 40 jobs. So when I brought it to the attention of the city, they was all in favor of it. Until whatever happened, they denied the program. It was, I didn't want no money from them. I told them I was bringing my own money. All I needed was an opportunity to build the building in the city. And it was all bad.
All bad. How did that affect you, Chico? How did that affect you? I mean, you go there, you have good intentions.
I said it on the video me, you take it out on me and give it out to me, but don't take it out to citizens and kids of Compton. That's the true statement about it. You don't have to like me, you don't have to like the mayor, but don't deny the kids from what, I'm trying to rebuild them. Building the baseball diamond, building the youth center, building the, we even talking about doing a skate ring, Compton skate band, building the whole scene there. So when you deny that, the 4 part, we ain't just talking about 4 or 5 parts, we're talking about rebuilding the city. The 500 was just a start.
Free Ross. It's your time, Yoko.
Wow.
Last night when you watched the film, go ahead.
Like I said, I had there were several different emotions that I experienced, like within a matter of minutes after seeing it, the most prevalent one I want to name is anger, right? Being from the city of Compton, being a product of that city and knowing how it was for us, you know what I mean? When we were growing up, I know, shortly after us in childhood, it kind of got tore back a little bit, but it was a good place to be. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for Compton, but I was always taught that when people show you who they are, believe them, right?
That's true.
We have to believe them, right? And I was so incensed that that individual couldn't get past whatever it was she was feeling to see what a benefit this would be for the children, for the community, you know what I mean? For people who could have received jobs and things like that, What it did was it showed me that this individual just really didn't give a damn about that community. And that's what really made me angry. And how do we get people in those positions that just don't care, that are just that, messed up, so that's that, you know what I mean? Yeah, but what I wanted to ask you was, in the midst of all that, and I'm not asking you what your feelings were in regards to anyone in particular, I just want to ask you what your feelings were in that moment, you know what I mean? And when you were in that meeting, did you feel defeated, or did you feel like, okay?
No, I felt disbelief more
Yeah.
I really denied, and I made a statement I denied the kids, not me, because for me, I'm gonna go back home and keep working. I'm gonna go back to my movie studio and continue to do film. I'm gonna continue to help in Compton, whatever I do. But my whole thing was helping the Crips and Pyrus, Hispanic gangs, and the kids of Compton.
And one more time, they've been denied.
Yeah,
And you say in the film, why are we always being cheated?
Yeah, you had an opportunity to see the film, but just think out the people who haven't seen the film and don't know all the stuff that was.
That's why I'm being careful.
That's just the trailer part. I got hours and hours, episodes. That's just, you saw 22 minutes.
Unbelievable. And I just want to say too, we talk about this myth, the man, and this and that, and I'm sitting here and I'm just watching you and I'm looking at you and now this is this assessment type of thing that I always have going on because of the work that I do, but I'm just looking at you and you are the most humble spirit that I've ever come in contact with. You know what I mean? You really are.
So if you have to categorize Ms. Ross under the man, the legend, the myth, what is going to be your top qualifier?
The man
And then?
is the myth, and what else?
Legend.
The man. I wouldn't.
Just the man.
Not just the man. No myth. No legend.
Yeah.
Not you don't even like that, do you?
You don't like it, do you? I'm
Not
sorry.
legend. You said legends are dead. He's here doing the work. So.
See, and all of those things are dead on my list because I kind of categorized it.
Yeah.
But it still happens. It's
It does.
part of his life. You know what I'm saying? I understand we're not going to dwell on it. But
Lori G.
again, like Jackie Ray said,
It's Lori G.
you know I can't be quiet.
Right?
Hallelujah.
I disagree, Frida.
Uh-oh.
I think
legend, Chico, is important. Legend is important because legend comes from legacy. And that's what you want to do. You are leaving a legacy behind that will create and recreate throughout. So much bad information comes out of our city. And it really makes me angry based on the position I hold at my job, that I'm the exception. Are you sure you from? Are you sure? You sure you came from there? Right? I mean, I'm like, what that mean? What is that? Do you know what I'm saying? So we want to create legacies. We want everyone to have from our city a spirit of legacy. And one of the things in your film that I really appreciated, and this makes me very angry too. People jump on the Compton bandwagon because it's faddish now, right? It's fun to do straight out of Compton. Do you know what I'm saying? But we live there, and we love the city of Compton for what it is. And we have to pour back into our children and to the people who live there now. All of that, a legacy of pride. That is what we have to bring back. So for me, it would be Chico the man, right? Chico the legacy, because what he's doing is trying to create things that are legendary, and then the myth, because there are so preconceived notions about who you were. Do you know what I'm saying?
So
Yeah.
I like that.
And of course, I'm gonna go back over here and run the camera, but I just had to come out and say.
You're right, and that's like you said, who he was, or what they perceived him to be, and who he was, and that's not the man, people.
It's still
that sits here
kind
before
of
us.
sexy though, low key. I'm gonna just say, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Everybody likes Scarface. How can you not? I'm just
Okay.
right. Chico Brown, Compton, nigga. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
That's just me. Something wrong with me. Y'all know I have special needs. Something. I'm just
I
saying.
mean, for me too, when like you say, talk about Compton, like it's a lot of bad memories I have. You know, like I said, I was shot when I was 12. My best friend died in my arms when I was 15.
Centennial.
That's Centennial. And that's us going to school, walking to school, walking to Centennial. And he got shot in the head. And, you know, so at 15, I had to see my best friend shot in the head, dying. And we talking about 1980. So I can tell you about murders after murders from my neighborhood, like, you know, there with them or something like that. So when you say you from Compton, and you know, for me, I've been pallbearer 15 times. All my friends like that grew up in my neighborhood. So that's stuff people like. When you say you from Compton, you experienced that real gang life, and you had to go through this from 15 to now. You know, that's 40 years for me. That's 40 years of being in some kind of gang related, if it's not even
Trauma.
gang related. You talking about post-traumatic stress.
That's gonna
Trauma.
Yeah,
How
so
does that wear on you psychologically?
this is not me. It's for everybody who grew up in Compton during them times. Like, because if I experienced it, I mean, on the other side, they experienced it. They must have had to. You know what's so strange? My mother is 97 years old. I buried more of my friends than she buried of her friends.
Wow.
She's 98 years old. So that don't make sense. You know, from the time I was 15 years old till now. So 40 years of gang violence. You're not even being involved in the gang anymore, but you're still part of it. That's something. You from over there, that's where you're from.
You know what the miracle is and all that though, and that's the humbleness that I see in you. It didn't harden you. You know, we do what we have to do in the moment, right? We live whatever life it is we have to be. We're chameleons. You know,
Absolutely.
African Americans, we've had to be for many, many, many hundreds of years. But at the core of us is a caring and you know, just caring, a caring people, a caring group of people. And that's just, it just comes through. It just comes through in you. You know what I mean? There's none of that hard stuff, the legend. You know what I'm saying? That not the legend you're talking about, Lori G, but the, you know what I'm saying? But that's what comes through. You know, and I think that I saw a lot of that in the little bit that I saw in your film, right? And that's what made me so angry, even when you were addressing her. And she was so angry, and she was cussing, and this and that, and this, and I just saw you like, really?
Yeah, that's what it was. It's really real.
You know? Yeah, amazing. You're remarkable. You're absolutely remarkable.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Frida. I appreciate it. Mr. Chico Brown. You say in the film, she cut off her nose to spite her face.
Yeah.
But actually, I think it was Mr. Cress.
No, that was Derek, the contractor.
I love the way the film was laid out. It was so cool. You know what I mean? Like so modern. I love this. But filmmaker, what does that mean to you?
For me, it was something that I didn't want to be involved in at all, because I really didn't like the hurry up and wait, film and stuff like that. So Penny Marshall was like trying to get me something to do, but she didn't want me to go back,
Yeah.
sell drugs or whatever, in marketing. So they were like, can you should find something else to do, like get involved in this. And so she put me into this company, and from there, like 17, 18 years ago, I did. First, like in and out there. I really got involved heavily when I started making films. I started indie projects on TV and something like that. So.
See, that, I think, for me, falls under the myth because of the past legend, right? I think people became shadowed by the legend, which is now legacy. And maybe not understanding that, you know, what it is you do in terms of the movie studios and the amazing things that you've got going on. You know what I mean? Because Chico allowed only a very few, you know, I don't know, but a few of us come in and see what it is that you're doing. So there's like a major diversity program that he has in filmmaking. I mean, it is just, everything is top notch, just state of the art. And I think anything that you
I
can
do have good news about that.
Tell me.
You've been in a company in Burbank, but he always pushed me Compton and filmmaking now. We actually looking for a building Compton and put a whole movie technology center for the kids like me. You know, the money's already set aside for me to do it in Compton. So it's gonna be a big change. Like something.
I
TV
know,
shows.
Monique is like, yay, guys, so much. I don't know what sound effects are, but it's okay. Dante is filming too tonight, guys.
And it doesn't have nothing to do with my TV show. It's just like, they presented to me like, she really go, what if we build technology center in Compton so they can learn all the skills in the background, the studio, all the camera work, all the production. This just happened last week. Like, I'm just mentioning it to you guys. Like,
Yay, look at this hot off the press. Congratulations. Look at that, look at that. We got a part of that. So, Chico, this is going to be for our youth, the men, women, just everybody in the community?
It's gonna be something, you know, special. Like, now they learn the skills there, and then we gonna put them with different film companies and in turn operate in turn with this Netflix or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's community based thing. I just got the word to find the bill. The money's already ready for you. We just do that. And then I get on the TV shows. It's just about me getting back.
Free Ross.
I just can't be any more amazed. You know what I
Beacon
mean?
of hope of others seeking to find their place. You know, that's something that I say in the Archer. This is like fresh running water. I can't even imagine. I can't even tell you how many times I would drive through the city like, what is going on? You know what I mean?
Nothing like when
And it's just like beyond barren. It's just death on a whole new level. It was, I felt like. You know what I mean? It was just heart wrenching. So to hear this is like, you know, fresh running waters. I mean, like fresh manna coming down to the children of Israel. That's what I hear.
Even on the film you saw when I talked about the music studio. For me, it's building a music studio in Compton where kids can go live in Compton free of charge. Like for all the kids who was thinking about, you know, getting into the music. That was my second project that I was doing. When I talked about it in the film, like, you know, this studio is gonna be ass, you know. You can really say you from straight out of Compton.
Yes, not Torrance, right?
Not Torrance, right? You will have a studio that kids can go to. But that was all, you know, it was like, they denied. So now it's like, if about to buy the building. Cause the other studio, just the recording studio, I ended up buying the building and everything, but, you know, you still wanna get, for me as a filmmaker in the company, and the guys working, what I wanted to show was these guys really getting along, and then the nation can see, everybody in the world can see, like, we talk about a place, Crips and Poverty where it started. And so you can see OGs all the way down to the young guys working together every day, eating lunch, talking, dudes with the suit,
Mhm.
they cousins, stuff like that, we all
Mhm.
talking.
Mhm.
And that was part of the whole show. It's just like, we show the world this, we can make a lot of difference, make a lot of changes in the world.
Chico, you gonna continue to release worldwide? It's, you know,
Yeah,
The amazing piece of work.
That's the plan. They kind of put a curve in that, because the whole project was to, you know, guys getting along really good, and the city
Right.
stepped in and did that, so.
That is awesome. Lori Ray, what you got to say?
I think it's amazing. Just
I know.
incredible, because we
Don't-
need to create opportunities for
Okay.
our students. I mean, well, I call them students because I work in education, but for our children, right? That they can have some positivity, some things they can say yes to,
Yes.
some things they can become a part of, and the creation of things that they can become proud of, right?
Yes.
Just think about it, you know, you got Clips probably was inspired, building a building in Compton. You got a right million, make sure you take care of that building, be even cleaning up the streets of Compton. I mean, the community invested in helping Compton, saving Compton, not just me, the whole community. And that was my whole thing, like, I didn't want to get political about this situation. I just wanted to go in, do the work, and move on and keep going. Cause this, you know, it could have lasted, it could get bigger and bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And it will, you know, greatness cannot be stopped. That is what we know for certain, you know?
Right.
And it's like, it's kinda like that, what is it, what I heard in a parable, you know, they say, you know, you give a man a fish, he'll eat for the day, but if
Right.
you teach him, right? Come on, I know,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
If you teach him, he gonna feed the
forever.
world. And that's kinda what I like in what you're talking about doing and what you are doing and gonna continue to do. It won't be stopped.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to just welcome Miss Monique May is in the house tonight. Yay! I have known Monique for like ever. Monique is homegrown in the city of Compton, and God bless you for coming down to us tonight.
Thank you.
Monique wanted to be in the studio to meet in person to Mr. Chico Brown. So Monique, when you're listening, and I thank you. What are some of the things that come to mind for you?
Well, for one thing, I'm glad to hear some of the things that you're trying to do in Compton, because as they say, I'm a product of Compton, and growing up in Compton. Now, my parents bought the house that I grew up in like the early mid-60s, and so we were there to see the transition from the white flight to the downtown Compton turning into a ghost town, literally. JCPenney's left, Seats, Candy's left. Newberry's held on for a minute, and then they left. And then now we've seen it kind of revitalized because Burlington is down there now. They've turned the auto center that used to be into a whole shopping center, so it's bringing back into Compton economically. Now, on that note, because one of my passions is finances, because in addition to being a teacher and a substitute teacher, because I taught in Compton for like 60 years,
Awesome.
back in the 90s up until 2000, but right now I also am a financial professional. And one of the things I'm trying to educate people, and especially our people, because we are consumers. We are making the Koreans that come to Compton and open up their business rich. Because we'll spend and spend and spend, but we will not try to build economically for ourselves. And I don't think we understand the importance of doing that, because the Koreans, they'll buy from the Koreans. Hispanics will buy from Hispanics, but then African Americans, oh, well, I can get it cheaper somewhere else. Or no, I don't, and that's hurting us, because we need to be in our own, okay, economic power is where the power is gonna be, because one of the reasons why that the powers that be have been able to do to us what they've been able to do, because they had a economic stronghold in the country, the state, the city, wherever they were. Even though they're not necessarily the majority physically anymore, but still, because they got the economic power, they're still able to. But we gotta get that back, and it's not as difficult as we think it is to do that. It's just some simple concepts if we understood that, just starting from there, and paying ourselves first. What I mean by that, save a little bit every month, put it somewhere where it'll grow, and not just say, well, whatever I have left, I'll just put it in, try to say, you never have nothing left. But it's just, that part, we gotta get on that, because we cannot keep giving everybody our money and not trying to build an economic base ourselves, and then wanna fuss and complain and about what everybody else is not doing for us, and we're not doing things that we need to do for ourselves.
Awesome. Chico, what do you think about that, the economics?
She's absolutely right. I can speak on it like, a few years ago, I had a product I was trying to put in the store, it's a liquor store. But come to find out, every liquor store in Compton, 99% of it is owned by Asians. And so I had a drink that I wanted to put, it was what you call it, like a Red Bull type of drink. And so I went to the liquor store, it's Chinese on the state, and then, all right, I want to put this product in the store. He said, you can't do that. So I said, why can't, I said, this is my community, this is my neighborhood, like, and when this is what you have to do, this is what he told me. He said, if we have a union, you need to go downtown. So I went downtown and they said, well, Chico, we let you, they didn't even know me, but I told them, Chico, we let you put this in, but you have to buy into this membership, which costs $2,000. Once you give us the $2,000, all of them on the same level they meet, and they got some, I don't even want to call it mob stuff.
Right.
And so, for me to put my stuff in their stores, I had to go and get them $2,000. And I put it in the store, because I wanted to see how this
How
was
it
working.
sell, yeah.
And they all talk to each other. Like, you just can't go in there, okay, because it's a bottle of water, right, when I put it on the shelf. You're going to have to go down there and give them $2,000.
A little
I was
extra
like-
tax.
So I went to every liquor store in Compton to find out that every one, it's not, probably one or two, owned by African Americans. All the liquor stores, they didn't buy all of them.
Frida Ross, you gotta say something. Let everybody know. Hold on to this
Yeah,
phone.
you know what, it's really funny that you bring that up. I can remember, because you guys know my mom owned a liquor store in Compton, right,
Yes.
Elizabeth.
But you gotta tell our listeners, cause you might have new listeners looking.
134th and Wilmington, front hood. Yeah. But I can remember, my mom, they expanded the store and she had you remember? And she
Yes.
opened up a fresh meat market.
Yes.
And you know, the neighborhood, the mother stuff, they had their running credit, they could come in there, they could get my uncle's sausages that he had handmade, you know what I mean? Ground beef, everything. But I can remember very well when the Asians began buying up the stores in Compton in early to mid 80s.
Yeah.
This was like prior to my son being born. And I remember Bill's Market went, they sold real quick. And I can remember I was in the store and it was two Asian men. They came in my mother's liquor store and they had one of those manila envelopes and they just put it on the counter and just kind of, pushed it to her, right? Didn't say a word, right? And, my mother was always a lady. She was always a lady, yeah. But so she kind of looked and she opened it up and she began to read. I mean, they had documents already drawn up. Offer made. She never seen these people a day in her life. And when I tell you that lady went ghetto real quick. And I can remember her having meetings with like Bill and Bill's Market, his wife. It wasn't Bill no more at that time, right? And it was another liquor store headed toward Rosecrans on the left hand side. It had the apartment upstairs, was it? Yeah. Near Stockwell. And my mom was just like, we cannot let these people come in here. They're not gonna take care of our community.
You had Jerry working on Stockwell?
Yes. Yeah, they're not gonna take care of the community like we do. The community needs us here, and that's just gone. That's just, and it took my mother really just like almost dying to get out of the store. She worked herself to death, really. You know what I mean? She was not going to just let it go like that. And back to what Monique was saying, I just wanted to say this, is that isn't it something how all other races of people have had the opportunity or the forewithal or whatever you want to call it to create generational wealth. Except
When Mo was here.
us.
Right.
Except us.
Right.
And I'm just really perplexed as to how that is, because I can remember a time when black people were doing the damn thing, right? There was businesses all over, but there that generational wealth, it has never been realized the way it has been in other races and in other communities. Hispanic, Asian, you know, you name it, Caucasian, that needless to say, but why is that?
It has to do with, if I may say, slavery and the slave trade. Because if you start back just with slavery alone, then I'm going to go back and talk about the slave trade in Africa. But when they were bringing us in slavery, they split it, divided us off, sold us off. So we lost that connection as a family. So that's the first thing. Is they were sold, babies were sold out of mother's arms. And so that generation thing was lost. Now, they started with the dividing thing in Africa, had the tribes fighting against each other, selling each other for money and all that. So it goes real deep, way back when it comes to us not having that wherewithal to have that generation. But it's something we've got to reinstill, and I don't think that did not happen. It started, I think, when the Black Panthers and the Civil Rights Movement, it was kind of a beginning maybe to try to turn it back on, but something happened in the 70s, 80s, and then me, myself, and I just took over in the 90s and the millennial, you know, it just, yeah.
But individuals like Chico Brown,
Yeah.
Then we got him.
Yeah.
He's doing it, and they want to put a stop on him.
hello,
What is
Rico.
it?
Hi, I wanted to answer one of the questions that you had asked about like why Black people do not, you know, kind of focus in on generational wealth. I think a lot of it has to deal with kind of the school to prison pipeline as well as mass incarceration because of affirmative action, when that whole thing passed after the civil rights movement, like you're speaking of, Black people were given opportunities to become middle class. Like Compton was completely middle class when you guys were growing up, as you guys know, completely middle class, right? Then you have war on drugs hit, right? Those opportunities where we're locking up consistently Black men who are considered to be the providers of a family. All of those things tie into why we are unable to build generational wealth. We're always stagnated, right? When you have Black Wall Street, right? Black people, we know how to make money. We're creators. We create everything. We know how to make money. It's just they're in control, and that's capitalism for you, right? They pick and choose who's making the money, or they're gonna find a way to write a law so that they can get the money back, right? So either way, no matter where it goes, they're in charge of the money, and that's the issue with capitalism. Even with Black capitalists, they're not looking out for other Black people. They're looking out for themselves, and that's why capitalism within itself is a
that
problem.
humble heart of Chico Brown.
There we go.
Jay-Z. Wow.
Yikes Radio.
Wow.
Look.
.com. I'm gonna say it. Her. Guys, look at it. Look at the time. Look at the hour.
Wow.
We have a caller though before we take our break from Mr. Chico Brown. Dante, let me know when I'm ready. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Hello, caller. Are you there? Awesome. Who are we speaking to tonight? Hello, Mr. Hoyd. How are you tonight? We doing good. Y'all on your way to Vegas? Y'all being good? Absolutely. The City of Compton. We have Mr. Chico Brown in the house tonight, Rob. Are you familiar with Mr. Chico Brown? Okay, Mr. Chico Brown, in my opinion, is one of Compton homegrown's finest. And Chico's mission is to rebuild the city of Compton. We're doing a Compton 180 and Compton Rising, and these are the brainchildren of Mr. Chico Brown, Rod. And I know you guys are familiar because you grew up in the city of Carson in the 70s and in the 80s, and so Chico's here tonight with us, Rod, and sharing some of the most, recent things that he's doing for our community. So have you been able to hear that? Absolutely, yes, because, we know, but everybody else got to know Roddy Rod, huh? Do you have any questions for Chico tonight, Rod?
I just wanted to give him props for what he's doing, and I will watch the show instantly when I get to Vegas. And keep up the good work. You got Yikes is the best. It's the best. I'll tell everybody about it.
I see. Get that dollar bill, y'all. I love you, Mr. Hoyt. Well, I'll be there. Don't forget us. Yes. Yes. You hear that shit, though? You don't fuck up that new lack. I saw that new lack you just got, Mr. Hoy, so I feel you, player. I saw you on Roddy Rod page. I love you guys.
Take care.
I love you too. Awesome. We grew up with the Hoyd men. So Chico, look at that. People coming strong and wild, riding to Vegas talking to you, but Dante's gonna beat me up because we've got to take our break, Mr. Chico Brown, because you know I talk so much. And everybody are gonna take a little bit of break, and we will be back on Yikes Radio. I love you. Yeah, Chico, you get your break. Okay, little bit. It's my new favorite song, boy. Shut up. You got yourself.